for your glory. It's for your glory, Lord. I worship you today. I give you all the praise. For my story is for your glory. My story, Lord. My story is for your glory. My story is for your glory. I worship you today. I give you all the praise. For my story is for your glory. This life, Lord, this life is not my own. For it is written in your hand. Yeah. The battles I face, Yahweh, never did I know would change my story. For there's a journey to fulfill. Hey, my story is for your glory. My story, my story, my story is for your glory. It's for your glory alone. I worship you today. I worship you alone. I give you all. Welcome, 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 everyone. It is your girl, your co-host, Cynthia J on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe and share. If you're following me on YouTube, go on YouTube under Cynthia J22. At Cynthia J22, you definitely find me on there. If we get disconnected, you can also find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I'm also up there under Cynthia J Live, so you'll be able to find me on there and on Restream Live. So welcome, welcome everyone. How is your day today? Thank you guys for joining on in. Hey, Nisi Poo, I see you. Thank you, family, for chiming on in. Go get him. Again, go hit that like button, subscribe, and share, and invite some family and friends. I'm tagging people in, so bear with your sister. We're going to be on some deep topics today. It's been a lot going on, guys, a lot going on. But other than that, how was everybody week this week? Mine was lovely, yet it had its moments. It definitely had some moments. So definitely we had a relative in our midst, a dear close best friend of my husband's who his wife lost their daughter this past weekend. So please lift them up in prayer. Again, anyone who has lost loved ones, I lift them up in encouraging, inspirational prayer unto you. But again, if this is your first time joining in, I'm your girl, your co-host, Cynthia J on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. I'm your inspirational healer, your birth and doula, your healer, your psalmist, and so much more. Yes, yes. I tell you, every time I get up on here, it's always something going on with these electronics. Things start changing, things start updating. It's always something. But anyway, as we getting up on here, we're going to talk about some of the things that's been going on for those who have been watching the news lately. If you've been watching the news, you see a lot that's been happening. Seriously, there has been a lot that's been happening. For those who see my thing in the background, for those who are on TikTok, we are going to be definitely talking about the young brother Carmelo Anthony this week. For anyone who were unaware of the situation, Carmelo Anthony was indicted on first-degree murder charges 2 days ago. This is coming from the LBS article, Frisco by article person who wrote it, Larry Brown. Some of us, it was very disappointing to hear this, because knowing that we heard the story already, knowing that we are aware of what happened, again, for those who are unaware, because there's been so much going on in the world today, in the last week and a half, it's been a lot. And again, for those who are unaware what has been going on, our young brother, Carmelo Anthony, has been indicted by the prosecutors. They made its way through. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's found guilty. Yet, let's keep his family and him lifted up in encouragement. Let's keep him on high alert with the great divine, with the divine angelic ancestors, and so much more, because our young brother is going to need this. But I'm going to read a little bit of this article, and then I'm going to move on to the next. But on here, it stated that he was charged with first-degree murder by Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis. This was announced again for those who are unaware of this on this past Tuesday, and that the county grand jury indicted him on first-degree murder charges for Austin Metcalf. For those who don't know the story, this was a situation that happened a couple months back where this young man was there for a track meet, and two of the young brothers, who was state to believe to be brothers or twins, were under the tent during a track meet. Both of them were not a part of the track team. However, there was an altercation that was made with this young gentleman, Carmelo, who was and still a participant of the track team of his high school. And he was defending himself, part of what we were hearing. And he admitted to bodily injury, well, more than just injury, as we see, to protect himself, because he was being jumped, having an altercation with the two brothers. And so one of the brothers did not make it because he was defending himself based off what he had stated from the statement to the officers during the time upon their arrival. I can definitely tell you this, reading the article and looking at the comments was very disturbing. The people that were majority that were up here commenting on this indictment were those that you can tell that were not of Black descendants. Majority of them were of Caucasian. They were saying degrading things, talking about this murder child needs to be prison in life, need to be shot dead. It was so many things, guys, I can tell you, for what I was seeing and reading in the comments of the article, that it was very disturbing. It goes to show you that there are individuals out there that don't care about those who they say, we have this law supposed to back us up to help us, and we should be able to defend ourselves. However, when you have those of the opposite ethnic background going and stating, hey, he needs to go to jail, he needs to be tried for life, he need to be put down. I mean, so many things that was in this comment. And then when I look back, and if I look at something that has to deal with another ethnic group, you don't read those kind of comments, or you don't come across those things like that. And you see a lot more encouragement and people supporting. And as you mentioned, heard me mention before, previous podcast before, when it first happened, you see a lot of fundraisers and things like that, and GoFundMe's being done. And then they always get off scot-free. But anyone here will know that, and it's sad to say this, but the truth is the truth. It's the obvious. It's sad that a young man had to be unalived. Yet again, this goes for any parent when it comes to our children. You can raise your child up to the best of your ability. They still going to do what they believe and what has influenced them. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that, a lot of other parents raise their kids like that. But in the society and in the nation that we are living in, for those who may not, know the history of this land, is that we are still under heavy scrutiny of racism. Like, seriously, I don't like to say it, but I have to keep it 100. And sometimes that means I might lose some people. However, I have to speak the truth. It's obvious, no matter which way you put it. But let me go on and finish reading this. It is said that Anthony allegedly, as mentioned, has stabbed a young gentleman in the chest during a dispute at the high school track in Frisco, Texas. This was happened back in April 2nd. He died to succumbing his wounds. As was stated in the report, the community was shaken for what they said of the law of the track meet issue and the violence of it and the loss of this young man a few weeks after the team had been presenting evidence referring to the jury. So again, we're trying to figure out what is this evidence that they have accumulated besides the weapon. The young man didn't deny it. He let them know he was defending for his life. You look at him and you look at them. Size does matter in some cases. And can you imagine being, jumped or attacked by two people taller than you, weigh a little bit more than you, and you have to defend yourself? This is serious. Let's go on. So they managed to get a team together, the prosecutors, and prevent this evidence for the grand jury. So at that particular time, they summarized the evidence and asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against him, which they did. And so from this point forward, we continued doing our job fully to pursue the justice. Now, this is coming from the prosecutor. When you go back and you look at the video of the news report from Carmelo's attorney, he is stating that he was not technically found guilty, just being, indicted in this situation here. So let's continue to keep our young man lifted up in manifestational prayer. Let's continue to call upon across decades of generation of our loved ones who are not here in the flesh, but call upon them so they can back our brother, our young man here. Because if we don't support him, they're going to continue to do it to any of us, to anybody's child. And this is a serious matter. So again, let's keep Carmelo's family lifted in prayer, his mom and them lifted in prayer. This is a sad situation. Seriously. On other breaking news, there was a situation. There was a shooting on a June 10th celebration in South Carolina, Oklahoma, where 2 were unalive and 16 injured. Juneteenth is supposed to be a time where everybody get along and get together and celebrate and love, because this is the time when this is where we, as Black Americans, celebrated our independence and freedom from out of slavery, from the physical. It's sad that stuff like this have to happen, but let's read on. 2 people were unalived and at least 16 others were injured after a gun violence interrupted in South Carolina and in Oklahoma during Juneteenth celebration. Police in Anderson County in South Carolina and Tulsa, Oklahoma are investigating 2 separate shootings that occurred on the night of the 21st as hundreds of people gathered for Juneteenth event. For some that don't know, some people end up putting the celebration on the weekend, because for those who didn't know, Juneteenth was in the middle of the week. Let me continue. So Juneteenth, as they said, the federal holiday. They made it a federal holiday. The government made it a federal holiday. We had already had it a holiday. Again, if you're unaware of the history behind Juneteenth, our ancestors right here in America had already made it a holiday. I repeat, already made it a holiday. It didn't need to be nationalized to be favored. As for those who are aware, every time you turn around, when it's something that Black Americans fight for, it's always, well, let's give them a holiday. No, don't keep throwing holidays and days thinking that's going to please us. No. You need to cut us that check. Cut the check. We know how to cut checks and send out stuff overseas and do whatever else for everyone else here who's living off the sweat and the blood tears of our hard work and our ancestors' hard work. But if you're going to share, you need to make sure we get it too. You heard? So anyway, here it states 100 people were gathered together on this particular day. Again, it's commemorating the end of slavery in the United States after the Civil War. 1 woman was unalived and 9 others were wounded during a shooting near a veterans foreign war post in Anderson County. This is what the sheriff department said in its statement. A large crowd had gathered in the area for the county's 6th annual Juneteenth celebration. Gunfire broke out at the festival, and a 22-year-old man was also unalived in the shooting. 7 others injured. There still has not been no arrest that has been heard. Let's continue to keep them lifted up. and both incidents remain active investigation. The one that escalated our argument in South Carolina, they're still updating on that situation where it continues to do extensive investigation. Again, it was stated everything happened in a large crowd, and it wasn't about this. This area in Anderson County is about 36 miles from Greensville, and it's not too far from the border of Georgia. So for those who are unaware, of locations, it's good to get up here and look it up. Be aware of the surroundings and environments of places that you're learning about. But with that being said, there remains the crowd was in an area throughout the day. It had remained a peaceful event to celebrate. However, people arrived and had an argument in the parking lot, and multiple shots were fired. People started scrambling all over the place. Stated by this article, law enforcement was responded for multiple gunshots, and all of this happened getting close to 10 p.m. at that particular night. Again, several people were sent to the hospital while one person was unalive at the scene. The victim identified as LaPortia Janae Gary Gray Cobb. She was 35 years old. Let's keep her family lifted up in manifestational, inspirational prayer. That touches and hits me because it makes it seem like there's no place to go safe anymore. It's like we got to live in chaos and war, like forever and ever and ever. Like, why do we got to continue to go through this? Why do people can't find themselves? Why do individuals got to be so much of an argument that they think they got to prove a point with a gun? How about you just walk away and come back on another day? Why do they always got to do it at an event where it's a festival or a parade? For some people, some things we know is staged. Some things we know that it's a setup. But here, this one sound like people getting in an argument. They going ahead, gonna start shooting, but you so into your emotion. I call that the low level. For those who know about when you're doing yoga and all that, that's the low level chakra. That's that 3D areas that you hear a lot about. They not on high level. When you cannot be rational with irrational individuals, that goes to show you. To me, back in the day, we used to always say unirrational people are the ones that you don't need to have around in the midst. You don't need to have them around in the midst. Those are the type of people that don't even need to even be in an existence. Because if they do something like that, just to make themselves feel like they can prove a point, they feel like they have power. No, they don't. Because it's going to come a time when somebody's going to have to handle you. So with that being said, it's becoming old news. Seriously. And the generation that is here now, as much as, my generation and generation before me needs to fix the issues and the problems that are going on out here because of our, youth, their loss, we need to handle that. Like, seriously, we need to handle that. It's becoming too much. It's becoming too much, guys. I don't know about y'all, but this is becoming too much. But let's keep that family in prayer. Let's keep the family in prayer. So on some other news, like I said, it's been a lot going on. I know you guys might feel some kind of way, but as we know, our government has launched their, I guess, attack on the other countries here. For those who feeling some kind of way, we have been on alert to have, I guess you would say, we've been on high alert for those who are unaware to be watchful what's may occur, because we had went out there, for those who may feel some kind of way saying our president put a launch out there. I know y'all probably like, okay, you laughing, Cynthia. What's so funny? Well, all I can say is this. We can't act like we didn't know this stuff wasn't going to happen. And it was even before Trump came into office. We cannot act like none of this stuff wasn't going to happen. For real. We can't act like it. You know, as the members of the Iran leaders, they said the claims of the U.S. strike were just showmanship, they saying by Trump. But again, we can't act like that we didn't know any of this was going to happen. Like, seriously. And so many people are getting upset and irate, especially, brothers and sisters, Black Americans. They like, look, don't put us in it. We didn't put the stuff in the president's hand to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm just gonna say this: anything pertaining to the gov, anything pertaining to the corps, ops, anything, the people, referring to us, we are voting these people in, right? For the majority of us. And I'm not really into this politicky thing here. And why I say that? Because no matter what I say, people gonna believe what they want to believe. And as they would say, I'm gonna believe what I want to believe. It's not about what you believe. It's about what is actually the hidden facts. And there's so much hidden information that's out here that we are so manipulated by the things that are around us that we don't see what is really going on. It's a cover up. Everything's a cover up. So whatever is going on with our corp, our gov, our country, any of it, can y'all not sense and feel what's going on? Can you not feel that the energy has shifted? Like everything that's going on, it just feels like it's off balance. But everything is necessary. It has to happen. It has to happen. It must happen. Because if it does not happen, this shift won't move and birth forth something new. We are in a big shift where everything is going to change in a way that it's going to shake the grounds of people who are walking around with fear. Others are just sitting here playing around, being la 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 la. Oh, I'm not worried. It's just, oh, they're just talking. No, this is where you should be paying attention, using your discernment, being watchful. Listen to how they word things, particularly because they're very cunning, especially with the media. They're very cunning on how they word things. They word them in a way where it make you think one way and believe one way, but it's the opposite of that. I was talking to a few friends overseas and they was like, well, not too much happened over here, or what they say or what they thought or whatever. And I'm like, here we go again. We over here and we looking at our news like CNN, Fox News, USA, all these other news broadcasts. And we like, well, this is what they showing us. This is what they telling us. And then you come to find out it's the opposite. Everything has an agenda, because if you notice how everything with the stock market, the food industry, the pharmaceuticals, the hospitals, just everything, it's all off balance. But we know particularly why they want to get there. Everything is about power. Power, power, power. Not power, power. Because see, they like that power and control. Do some of us know what the word gov means? It's to govern the mind. Why do you need somebody to govern your mind? This takes me back to that time I was talking to one of my ladies. I helped take care of a relative of theirs, and I was listening. And this was the time when the Pope was being sworn in. And the same way the Pope is being sworn in, that's how the presidents and them get sworn in. You ain't ever wondered about that? How is that still a pattern? Think about that. And as they were swearing him in, they speaking in Latin, And she's Catholic, but she don't understand nothing that they saying. So she said they supposed to have a translator. And in my mind, I'm saying, well, over there the people know. Over here, on this side of the waters, they don't know. That's just like over there, people knew what Christ looked like. Over here, everybody think, even people of my ethnic group think Christ is supposed to be Caucasian. Come on now. You see how they blindside? So as they're speaking over there, and I'm listening to her, and she's like, well, we need to have this Pope sworn in because he helps interpret God's word to the people so that they won't be lost and such and such and such. But I said, well, that's what your pastor do. You might as well say, well, yeah, but see, there's different levels, and the pastor would have to wait and go through protocol of the Catholic Church too, because it comes from them. And how it geared to that too. I had asked her earlier about this particular book that I had just finished reading and would like to bring it up to her. And she was like, oh no, if it's not from the Catholic, I'm not supposed to read it. Do you know how, for those who are Bible readers and those who are not but still know it, the scripture mentions that people perish by the lack of knowledge. And so how are you just going to believe one thing and don't, self-search and educate knowledgeable for your mind, for your inner and outer standing? You heard that I said inner and outer standing, and I didn't say understanding, because understanding still in lines with gov mind. See, English words that we were taught to use, they are not the way that we think. That's why if you ever meet somebody who's British, they always laugh at those us Americans because of the type of English that we're using. Now, most of us are aware of that, some of us are not. So with that being said, that's why it's important to study to show yourself approved so that you be aware and have some type of inner and understanding, which takes you to a higher level, higher dimension, where you can grasp on things. So as I'm telling her this, I noticed that I said, well, you just going to listen to whatever the pastors say and whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, that's why we lost. Everybody has the gift of the discernment. Everyone has the Christ conscious in them. Some believe it, some don't. I get it. I don't force you. I'm not going to pressure you. But what I will say is this. If you got to be led all the time without a brain like the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, I know some of y'all watch the Wizard of Oz, right? If I only had a brain. I mean, come on. Come on. There's no way that you walking around with half a brain like a machine, like we on the Matrix, which we living in the Matrix. For those who starting to see things, the decoding is breaking. See, I might sound crazy to some of you guys, but it's going to come a time in a season where people are going to start realizing, oh snap, I remember this person said this a long time ago, and I thought they was crazy talking out their head. No, they're not talking out their head. So now that you see what's going on, we are in a dynamic shift. The shift is so dynamic that it's just not just happening because our president is saying and having those, the chief executives, all them going places and trying to conquer and take over, bomb and do whatever they doing. It's more than just that. It's the marketing, money industry. It's everything. We cannot get caught up in our homes and not know what's going outside when we step outside of our homes. I always think of the song with Jill Scott talk about being in a microwave box. We cannot allow ourselves to be in a microwave box and just want to live this fast life and not be aware of what's going on. That's going with our gov, that's going with the corps, meaning the corporations, with the music industry, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the everything. When the gov, that means, the CDC, everything. People are so blindsided that it's not even funny. How I can say that? Because I once was that. I once was that person. So let's not get so caught up, guys, in this situation here. Seriously, because this here, we have to pay attention. So make sure that you're preparing your families and your households with emergency kits. Because if you didn't catch it, they had it going across some news of survivor bunkers they were talking about. It's only a few bunkers in the state. A few bunkers. I don't know if you guys heard about that. I'm about to look that up for y'all real quick. And they had put it on the news, and I was like, wow. So some people, they weren't panicking nothing about that. Others, they was like, oh my God, where's these bunkers? But these bunkers are not like for bomb, like if there's a bomb or something, it's going to protect you. These bunkers were to only protect you from radiation, and it's only a few. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Let me see if I can find that real quick, if it pops up for me. Let me see if it pops up, because they had posted it up here. Okay, here it go. So they say a map that shows, and this is coming off the military map for those who are unaware of it. You can definitely, if you can see this, guys, let me put it this way. It's kind of blurry, but I'm going to read it. This is coming from the Express USA. If you go and type it in, you can look for it yourself. It's going to state under the military. A map shows where the U.S. nuclear fallout shelters are located if cities are attacked. Now, the way they have it, it's more bunkers in the West Coast than it is in the East Coast or anywhere else. And this is a very sad thing. I was like, dang, I didn't have so many bunkers there. Not on, you would think we have a lot of bunkers or shelters in the East Coast, right? I'm like, Jesus. I was like, this is crazy. So let me kind of glance through this and read it a little bit to you guys. They kind of shorten it, but it's not a lot. So, as they were stating, these shelters are designed to protect individuals from radioactive particles known as fallout dispenses or after nuclear explosion. While shelters aren't constructed to endure the initial blast, extreme heat, and shock waves of explosions, they can serve as a safe haven for survivors in the aftermath. This follows on from another map that they had for later on, that it's on a separate map where you can see how it is. So what's funny is they thank Google Map for the historical record from a Cold War era time that shows. So Google Map has all this stuff up there if you guys can get up there and see. And it also states that it pinpoint the locations of thousands of the shelters that they may still be standing today. It makes you wonder, are these bunker shelters reliable? Have they been kept up to date? That should be a good question. Have these bunkers been kept up to date? Do you know that there's some people who used to serve veterans? Some veterans actually made their own, and I salute to those who always thought a little further outside the box. Sometimes we thought they were a little crazy for PTSD and all that stuff. No, they weren't that crazy. They was a good crazy, but they made it and they built their own stuff. So don't be sleeping on these people. Think about it. Take us back to Independence Day, just without the aliens. Then it goes to say the records indicate that states such as New York, Maryland, Michigan, Texas, Wisconsin still house hundreds, if not thousands, of underground facilities labeled as emergency fallout shelters. This is why it's so important to be aware of these things. Sometimes we get so caught up in everyday life that we don't think that disaster is going to happen. We don't believe disaster is going to happen. You heard me say think and believe, two things. Because majority of the time, people, when they're conversating, they always say think. But it's not about just thinking. Some just don't believe. But anyway, it also goes on to say majority of the remaining bunkers are scattered throughout America's largest city, which is including Boston, Baltimore, Dallas, Detroit, Memphis, Milwaukee, New York, Oklahoma, Sacramento, and Washington, and each hosting dozens, if not hundreds, of basement shelters. That's a lot. That is a lot. I don't know about you, but that's a lot. So why some of us are unaware of this? It makes you wonder. This is why you need to connect more with your surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. Nature lets you know what's around you. Sometimes it will guide you to places and hidden places that you don't even know that's there. Like, seriously, some people are unaware of the things that are around them. I was once that person. I know sometimes you can say, well, why do I need to go running around here? People, it might be something that I shouldn't go out there to see or be around. So I have to be careful, especially for women. We do have to be careful because sometimes we like to go out of our zone and not think that we don't need to be protected, but we do. And so with that being said, let's definitely keep an eye on what we're doing at all times. Still be safe. If you're going to travel and learn your area and want to know where certain things are at, make sure you are protecting yourself. Your protection is on you at all times. I'm speaking that to myself too. I can't just say that to you, but I got to say it to myself as well, to my sisters, to my ladies out there. On other news, this is another thing. I know you guys been feeling this heat wave. For those who have been feeling it across the United States, please make sure when you stay hydrated, it's not just drinking water. You need your electrolytes. I know for some people, they like to drink their Gatorade, their Powerade, and all those other things. But please, if you're not allergic to coconut water, drink it. You can get your electrolytes and mix your coconut water and blend with pineapple juice, melons, all of that, and juice it and strain it. You can also find electrolyte powders that do not carry a lot of sodium that can be, used to keep you hydrated. Please make sure you're getting your hydration. This season, you should be eating plenty of water-based fruits and vegetables. No joke. For some that do not like to eat vegetables, I repeat, those who do not like to eat their water vegetables, please do. Those who don't like to eat fruit, please do. And these are water based. Get it, drink it. It is necessary. Too many people out here having heat strokes and passing out and all kinds of things. But the reason why I say this was another breaking news, and this happened about a couple days ago. This is coming from ABC News. Prisoners nearly suffocated every night as some VA docks facility have no AC. And this is happening in Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia. They said they're taking action and investigating ongoing air conditioning problems in Virginia prisons. Days of extreme heat, and the heat has been extreme. It has been over the hundreds. The lowest at starting point was in the 80s, and it has escalated over the hundreds. Again, for those who probably be like, oh, there's prisoners, they can deal with that. No, let me share something with you. Some of them people, brothers and sisters that are in prison, who's to say that they were just victims? Who's to say they are not innocent, but yet they are still taking on what they're taking on right now? Let's be mindful. This is still somebody else's family. Seriously. Let's be mindful. This is other people's family. So let's not get all caught up in our own understanding and our arrogance, our pride, all these things, guys, because it's serious. But anyway, let me continue to read this. It stated that 7 prisons, y'all heard that, seven prisons that do not have air conditioner in Virginia. That is a lot. 7 prisons. I only knew 5. How many of you guys knew 7? That's no joke. 7 prisons, guys. That's a lot. That is a lot. And they without AC. And this is coming from the delegate of Democrats, Holly Sanborn. And they said those 7 prisons are Nottoway Correction Center, Buckingham Correction Center, Blade Correction Center, Harrisburg Community Correction Alternative Program, Appalachian Community Correction Alternative Program, Cold Springs Fields Unit, and Deer Work Center. They said last week, the Virginia Department of Corrections stated that all or parts of Greenville Correctional Center has also been having AC issues. This is serious, guys. They have talked to everybody they could possibly talk to, and they're working it out, as they say. And this is coming from one of the inmates named Barbara. It stated Barbara's loved ones is currently serving a life sentence there. But family has gone out there and has been speaking up because their family members who are in these prisons are reaching out to them and letting them know it's miserable. Some of these prisons are old, and the way that they were built, they draw in heat. So can you imagine going to lunch, eating, and still sweating coming home? You thinking you're going to have something cold to drink? No. I mean, this is serious. This is serious. It's crazy. I have no words for it. I have no words for this situation. So for those who have family members who are in the prisons in Virginia, please, if they are reaching out to you, make sure that you're letting all of us know that we need to contact that area, that state, that community, and put our foot down. Because there are some brothers and sisters in there that don't deserve not having no AC, that are having life sentence prisons for protecting family members or whatever it could be, or being wrongfully accused of certain things. Come on now. Because we shouldn't have that issue. Shouldn't have that issue. That's crazy. Shouldn't have that issue. On other breaking news, for those who didn't know this, if you was reading about the situation, the parents of the unalive baby that was born decapitated has won their $1 million lawsuit. Yes, they have won their $1 million lawsuit. This is, and for those who don't know how this situation occurred, we are about to get there. This article is coming from Crimes. It states that parents of baby decapitated in childbirth wins millions in lawsuit against doctors who shared autopsy photos on Instagram. This was 4 days ago. For those who are unaware of this situation, this happened around 2023, and this was very sad. Like, to be a mom myself, or any mother or any parent, even to the fathers, anyone who's online, this lets you know, should I feel comfortable and feel safe at a hospital without having to be concerned about something happening to my unborn child and not be told about it? Yes, for those who are unaware of it, these two parents, on the day of an emergency C-section, the baby's head was decapitated upon delivering. However, I'm going to read this article to you so you get a little bit more detail what has occurred. The Georgia parents whose child was unalive by decapitation during childbirth has won a multi-million-dollar silver award against a doctor who posted the infant's autopsy online. Now, some of us was aware of this, some of us was unaware of this. That's not how you're supposed to do things. Why would you do that without the parents, permission? That's just wrong. You don't know how that feels to be a grieving parent and to be publicizing something like that. Some of that stuff can be traumatizing. And family members can be traumatized by these kind of things if they see this. As the Law and Crime has previously reported, the mother, Jessica Ross, Trevion Isaiah Taylor Sr., on July 19, 2023, suffered the loss of their child while at Southern Regional Medical Center in Atlanta. Southern Regional Medical Center is one of the hospitals that I have actually been in myself. I knew someone who was about to give birth at that time, and they didn't even feel comfortable at this particular location. That was back then. It's still been some reports on certain things not long ago. But let's keep reading. It said Ross struggled through her labor. The baby's shoulders reportedly got stuck against her pelvic. The medical term efforts to extract the baby resulted in decapitation. This is what was said. So, mother having trouble trying to deliver a child naturally. In some cases, some end up being, but here we go. Let me finish reading this. So Ross and Taylor hired Dr. Johnson Gates to conduct the autopsy. Okay, so they hired him. Y'all hear that? So they hired this doctor, which Gates did, and then posted the procedure, which he recorded to Instagram. Was he trying to get clout? Was he trying to get recognition for something that he thought maybe be so big that people will recognize him like another Johnny Cockrell or something? You just don't do nothing like that. That's so wrong. So the parents who say they did not give permission for Gates to share their child's autopsy on social media filed a lawsuit. Mind you, the parents are still going through the emotional stress. They're still going through court with all of this stuff that's going on, guys. Brothers and sisters, this is serious. This is the type of stuff that we are enduring every day in society and unaware of what's really going on. And then they said allegedly invasion of privacy. This is the lawsuit being filed. Intentional infliction of emotional distress and fraud. This is deep. Fulton County court records show that the following: a jury determined that Gates owes millions to the parents. Millions. Like, why would you do something like that? Like, how could you do something like that? Why would you do something like that? Did you ever think for once how the parents would feel? Did you ever have any compassion for once? Some kind of compassion for once to understand, to understand how the parents would feel? Did you ever for once? And this is very, very sad. I mean, who in their right mind? And y'all see me look down because I'm typing something up real quick, guys. Who in their right mind would even think to do something like that? I mean, it's traumatizing. It's really traumatizing. Really traumatizing. And I feel like people don't have no compassion, no respect, no type of loyalty, no morals, no nothing. Nothing. And this is very, very sad. Very, very sad. I mean, I feel sorry for, and I give my condolences and my heart to the mother and father, because things like this you shouldn't play with people's lives. You shouldn't play with that. And you already know his license is going to probably be revoked, taken away from him. He's going to owe millions of dollars. Can he even afford that? And then it depends on if it's his own practice or if he's working under another practice. He's putting them in jeopardy. He's putting them in debt. I mean, seriously, that's just crazy. I mean, why would you do something like that? You have no love in your heart, especially for your people. Why would you do something like that? And I'm feeling some kind of way about it because I can imagine how they're feeling. That probably had me come out of my character, to be honest with you. Like, that would lyrically have me come out of my character. It shouldn't make anybody feel like they got to come out of their character, because you shouldn't have to deal with nothing like that. That's just wrong. Straight out wrong. You just don't do nothing like that. But as it goes to say, and I'm going to read this last part, and then we're going to move on to our final thing. The parents, it says that the jury finds that for the intentional infliction of emotional distress and invasion of privacy, that the defendant Jackson L. Gates, MD, at Gates Rapid Diagnostics Laboratory of Atlanta, sound like he has some partners, Medical Diagnostic Choice will pay. Woo-wee! That's a lot of money. $2 million in compensation. And some damages to them. Woo! That's a lot of money. The question will be, are they even able to receive that kind of money? Do that? They must got some good LLC liability money or something, because there's no way that you can sit up there and just do what you do and show no type of remorse. He better be glad that he didn't meet a real one where the father would have showed up and did something to them. Like, seriously. Because there's some crazy people out there that would do something to some people for some stuff like that. Like, for real, for real. There's some people who would do some crazy stuff. That's just crazy. My mind is just blown, guys. I'm blown. I'm just blown. Woo, that's a lot. That hit my brain. But this last breaking news here, guys, that I'm not going to hold you guys up for tonight. For those who are just chiming on in, I'm your girl, your co-host, Cynthia J, on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Definitely on here. If you're looking to find me, you can find me. Also, if you get disconnected, on my YouTube channel and my bio on TikTok, on all social media platforms. If you're on my Facebook page, you can still click on my bio and find me on YouTube for Cynthia at Cynthia J22. This last article is dealing with a grandmother facing eviction after her son, who took his own life after robbing a bank, faked the deed to her home. I'm done. I know we all done, right? These are the kind of things that's going on in today's society. Let me repeat this again, and this is coming from the Independent article. Grandmother facing eviction. Y'all hear this? Eviction. After her son, who took his own life, who robbed a bank, faked the deed to her home. Somebody please explain to me, how does this exist? Is it getting that bad that family got to do this too? Wow. Let's read this article. This, again, is coming from the Independent News. For those who's unaware of it, the Independent News. That's the grandmother. A Texas grandmother is fighting to stay in the home she has lived in for 30 years. I repeat, 30 years. After discovering her son allegedly forged her name on the deed. Remember when I was saying that you can raise your children up to the best of your ability and they can still make choices that does not just affect themselves, it affects everyone. He killed himself. What, he thought killing himself was going to make it better? He still did not think about his mother. Where's she going to go? How's she going to get there? Let's read on. And secretly sold the property before dying by suicide. In society today, it seems like you shall not be able to trust your children. This is why I always tell our child, if you're lying too much, if you're deceiving too much, if you're manipulating too much, You cannot be trusted. There are different levels of deceitfulness, manipulation. All of these things falls still under the category of the society we live in with heavy narcissistic individuals. We live in this type of nation, in this type of world. It has gotten so bad that this is what we're living in. And when your own flesh and blood turns around and forges your name on a deed, there should be a way where they can actually, but I guess I shouldn't say it shouldn't be, because it already is. In some cases, people are just so good at forging people's names, as they were doing that years ago before half of us on here was even born. But it goes to show that this is just sad. It's like, who can you trust? Let me go on. The Houston residents, Barbara Arnold, which is 77 years old, told Fox 26 that her late son, Jeremiah Jerry Arnold, fraudulently transferred the ownership of her home without her knowledge. Now, the question would be, how would he have done that? You allowed him access. This is why it's very important that as individuals who are parents or guardians, that you have trust funds, that you have CDs and things like that. You put your things in the bank. And if you pass away, then they get your stuff. He did it to her while she is alive. The deed and everything would have been signed over to him in a will. Let's continue. He fraudulently transferred the ownership. The truth came to light after Jerry, 53 years old, died by suicide in August 2024, following a police chase after he robbed a bank. Y'all hear this? He said, if I stop, I'm going to kill myself. This is what the deceased said. For those who are on all social media platforms, TikTok, Restream, YouTube, all social media platforms, just to let you guys know, I'm reading from the article that's being published by the Independents, so that y'all won't try to hit me with anything, because you know they like to hit you with crazy stuff and do whatever. So all things that are up here that is being disclaimers under the section of 107 of the Copyright of Act 1976. This is for purpose such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research, and for nonprofit, educational, and personal use, tips to balance the fair of fair use. So this is fair use. Information, fair use. Let's continue. She never signed anything, and she couldn't understand how her house isn't her house. Her church friend, Nicole Poolwhite, said Barbara now faces eviction from the home where she raised her family that she owned outright since 1996. Legal documents reportedly show that the investor purchased a house after the forged deed was filed. They are now trying to remove her from the property. She spent about $17,000 on legal fees. That's a lot of money, guys. $17,000 on legal fees, attempting to regain her home and regain control. But she says she can no longer afford to continue to fight without help. Her attorney is continually pursuing legal actions to avoid the fraudulent sale and restore her ownership through the process and ongoing. We have two properties. This is what's stated by the attorney, the civil attorney, Rex Mann said. One is Miss Arnold's homestead. That was one of the fraudulent transactions. And another was a property she was attempting to fix up and lease out for a possible income later on. That's funny. So now you want a live restricted for audience. Your live contain a theme some may find uncomfortable. This is the reason for no, this is not. Again, TikTok, this is a disclaimer. This is for educational purpose only. And this is coming from the independent. So whoever and whatever decides to hit that button, this is coming from the article of the Independence, and all disclaimers were spoken. So there is no need, no one is on here that's going to cause self-harm to themselves. This is disclaiming information that of an individual that are already. This is for public domain. Public domain. You see how quickly they want to do stuff? It's always a hater. Anyway, it goes to show and state here that she never signed anything. She couldn't understand the situation. She's paying for this attorney. She's been paying legal fees up to $17,000. She is in need of help pretty bad. It's a beautiful home, guys. Very beautiful. Despite the betrayal, she says she has forgiven her son, late son. Meanwhile, her friends and fellow church members have rallied behind her, launching a GoFundMe to help with her legal battles, and they are also calling on any attorneys willing to assist pro bono to come forward. Again, at this time, the campaign has risen and raised $1,075 towards its $22,000 goal. So they have a goal of $22,000, guys. They didn't leave a information or anything like this, but anyone who is up here who is going or know anyone who is suffering from mental illness and you are in the US, the assistant number you can go and text is 988, or you can visit the 988lifeline.org. Again, for those who have family members that's fighting any mental illness, you can go and text 988 or visit the website 988lifeline.org. Especially for those who are going through any financial crisis or whatsoever, please do so. But again, for those who are on here, for those who try to hit your sister with a restriction, I'm only coming up here to give you the real news, the straight facts. I'm not up here to judge anybody. So if you're trying to stop me from telling the truth, shame on you. May the divine ancestors come after and handle you. Same thing with you, TikTok. But with that being said, please, again, for those who do not know this mother, her name is Barbara Arnold. If you can find her GoFundMe, the church family are helping her. So please make sure you get up there. Her name is Barbara Arnold 77. She's in Texas. You can find her GoFundMe under her name so that she can reach her 22,000 mark. It might be less than that now. So let's support her in retrieving her home back, guys. And let's continue to lift up the prayers of the I almost forgot, guys. I almost forgot about this one. For those who are unaware of this one, let me type this in real quick. I'm typing this in real quick, guys. Because this was another breaking news from the mother, another Georgia mother who delivered her baby while she was under life support, is being laid to rest. This was this week past. The Georgia mother case drew a big attention. Let's keep this mother family in prayer, her mother as well, Andrea Smith. She was a Metro Atlanta nurse who was declared brain dead, and earlier this year her child was delivered, and her young innocent blessing is in the ICU. They're having a viewing on this month, June 28th, this Friday. So if anyone is out there in the Atlanta area, you want to show support, definitely go and show some support. The viewing and everything will be at Fairfield Baptist Church in Lithonia. I haven't been down that area in years. I know where that is at. And right after the funeral service, from noon to 2:30 p.m., the church is located on 6133 Reading Road. Again, Fairfield Baptist Church in Lithonia. The funeral will be from 12 noon to 2 p.m. The viewings at 10 a.m. If you want to go online and show some support to the family, please do so. Again, her blessing, I'm calling her baby a blessing, is in ICU. Let's keep her treasure lifted in prayer. Her mother is still very surprised and shocked. Some people are complaining about this situation, stating that, you know, why did they do that like that? Because again, remember, some states will not abort any baby that has a heartbeat inside of a mother. And so there have been a lot of complaints coming from multiple people from different podcasting videos, TikTok videos. All these people are just going on and going off because they feel that her body was no longer here, and you tried to keep her baby moving forward in a body that no longer was alive. It was unalive. So it's been so many talks about that. Yet again, let's keep her mother and her two children in prayer. The mother did have another child. It was very sad if you watch the video. What I don't understand is, but I do inner and outer, because it's foolish that you are posting a picture of her pregnant as this, that's how far along she was. That was with her first pregnancy, with her first child. And it's sad. And so you're hearing a lot of individuals feeling some kind of way about that. But with that being said, anyone that's lost a loved one, I send out my prayers, healing, manifestational, inspirational prayers to you, and so much more. Thank you all who continues to support me. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share, guys. Thank you guys for always just being there. Let's always continue to be a lifeline blessing to others who need it, regardless of what's going on. Again, everything that's spoken on here is this disclaimer, so it has a right to be spoken. It's public domain. And with that being said, there should be no restrictions. I speak this on TikTok and all social media platforms. So again, I send out my love, peace, and joy. Please, brothers and sisters, be safe out there. If you out there in Michigan area, again, I salute and send out prayers to one of our dear family members and loved ones that has lost a child out there. Please be safe out there in the waters. That can be anywhere, guys. A lot is going on. Please do not go out there and try to fight against the tides. If y'all have not noticed, there's been a heavy shift, and I said this before and I will say it again. There's been a heavy shift, and we haven't seen nothing yet. We haven't seen nothing yet. So if anyone's looking for a birthing doula, I am your girl, Cynthia J, right here on the Cynthia J Show. You can go and look up my Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula with one of my beautiful family members who's my co-partner. If you're out in the DMV area, hit us up. All our information will be in the bio and elsewhere. Love you guys. Thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for always being a blessing. Thank you for always supporting. You can get enough support. Sometimes we don't think we need it, but we do. So I just want to thank you guys for always being there, always sharing your love, always supporting. So again, tune in next week, same place, same time. Peace and blessings. Thank you for all my TikTok followers. Again, follow me on my YouTube page under Cynthia J22 at Cynthia J22. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share. If you go on my bio, you'll be able to find it. And for those who are on my YouTube live, I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Always sending out loves and blessings, peace and love. And make sure you always follow your girl wherever she goes. So stay tuned for some more updates. Peace.